Hey, I'm Daniel Nelms here with Josh Martin. Once again, we're going to watch another one of the videos, and Josh's going to make some commentary and talk about it. This is a day in the life of a hunter in India.
Yes. This one here, G. Kotaya is his name. And I know I'm not pronouncing the last part exactly right, but that's the name that they gave me. I spent all day with this guy. I cannot tell you his exact age, but he is weathered. He looks older than he actually is. And it's very interesting time with him. So I can tell this too. Right before we got started, I was told this is the rat catcher. That's all they ever told me about him. So we were like in the dark on a motorbike for 40 miles or something. The wind just blowing in my face. We're trying to get there as quick as we can in the morning. And we pull up and I meet this guy, and ended up being the hardest day that I've done so far.
Cool.
So there's a lot to see here. The hardest day physically. He gets up to, it was 104 it got up to that day. And I had no idea what exactly we were hunting. I thought it was rats. Here is his humble abode. And I'm not entirely sure on all the relations of everybody. I know that his wife is there, his son is there. His son's daughter is there. There's grandchildren here. So throughout the day, I kind of started meeting different people. But in the morning when we got there, he was already getting ready. So he is searching for things to get stuff ready. That's his son getting the trap ready. But they are gathering everything together here. It's one of his grandchildren. That is his breakfast. He's putting pepper in that, and that's like soggy bread in water. That's what he's eating. The dogs are sharing it. So he gets going as fast as he can here. You can see that cage. Now he's got 3 dogs with him. He hunts with these dogs. And today, his son, I believe, is off work, and he's helping him. So they work as a team. And his son has a slingshot. They use these dogs to try to scare out game, and they're looking for pretty much small game right now. As I said, they told me it was supposed to be a rat, but it was some kind of like an Indian palm squirrel that they were looking for. There may have been, when they're looking in the trees, they're looking for the Indian palm squirrel. Which is in Telugu, in their language, Uduta is the name of that animal.
What was that?
It's an Indian palm squirrel, and it's called Uduta.
Uduta?
Uduta in Telugu. And some of these times they may have been looking for a rat, but when I asked them later to show me, like I showed them a picture of this palm squirrel that we had caught, and they said, yeah, that's it. So I don't know if they call that a rat.
I guess they just call it a rat. We call it a squirrel.
But they're checking all these hedges. They've left that trap there. And they do not touch that trap until evening time. Sometimes they think they see something and they'll shoot up into the tree. But they are searching everywhere. Here he's actually lost a dog. The dogs would disappear sometimes. And he's waiting till he sees that dog, and he'd go way out looking for it. We were all over those fields during the morning. And then he came here. There's a lot of game trails right around this spot, of course. Watering hole. Dogs took a little bit of a chance there to let themselves get a...
Is there any big game there, or is it just small?
Small that I could see, but I would not be surprised if there was some kind of a medium-sized deer. No. All we saw was small. Here's their first kill. So Kotaya would draw them out. His son would come around. The dogs would scare him, but his son was the one that actually hit it and then pulled it out. Here you can see it right here.
With the slingshot.
Yes.
Oh, they
They
got
were
one.
happy about that. They were proud about that. Hey, they caught something.
Lunch.
Basically, what they'll do is break the neck. So it was alive there. They showed it to me, but they carried it with them. And after that, here's thorns. The thorns were pretty bad. They're pulling thorns out of the dog's feet.
Poor thing.
And you can see that they're in sandals. I was also in a sandal shoe because I did not know what we were doing that day or how far we were going. So you can see the thorns now. You get into places like this, and it was absolutely horrible. We would catch it on our arms and catch it on our clothes. You can see it.
Yeah.
I was ripped up and bleeding pretty bad. They were still telling the story about the time I really got cut that night. They were talking about it.
I could see like there's a few places that he's gotten.
He's pulling thorns out of his feet here too. He stops and pulls them out. One of those shots before they get to the top. This was beautiful.
Oh wow.
There's the highest point that we had. There's a low spot just beyond where he's at, where we crossed later. But I had seen this mountain in the distance, and I had no idea that we were actually going to end up there. This was the first time we even got to really rest. It's right here. I was able to pull out one of the other cameras and get a few shots a little closer up. But boy, dogs were tired already. And you can see the sweat on his back.
Yeah.
This is heading towards noon already here. Probably 11:30. We've been out quite a while by this time, and you can't tell that, but it's a lot of hunting, and we only caught the one squirrel. So Kotaya goes down along the side, and his son went across the top, and they're all just checking boulders and rocks. They start checking all over. They just kind of meet up with each other, and the dogs are out there everywhere. You never know when you're going to see a dog run by. They're all searching together as a team. I know from the very top of the mountain, they were always pointing out to the other side of the valley, and we ended up going several kilometers out that way also. But at first, they're just checking the base of the mountain here. There's no communication between us. We had no English whatsoever. So I had to guess a lot of times of what was happening and then just keep up with them. You can tell he's calling the dogs down. He's also sometimes there'd be a whistle for the dogs. There were certain sounds and clucks that he would use to call the dogs. And then also with his son. These dogs are already starting to search for shade. Whenever you see them near the rocks or under trees, they'll start hiding just to get a little bit of shade.
It's too hot.
Yeah. Way too hot for them. And there's no water yet. This was another spot where he lost a dog, and this was the longest he lost. You can see water dripping off his nose. He is just sweating. Here was our second rest time, and I don't know, this would have been considered kind of like lunch. All they did was drink water from that bottle. And they lost that dog, so later while.
Really? It didn't ever come back?
They're still calling it. They're still calling it. Two of the dogs are hiding in the shade, but one of them is still missing. It did come back, but it did not come back till quite a bit later.
Oh, okay.
The ground is very treacherous here. And the dogs are hiding in the shade. They don't want to come when he calls.
It's like, you're crazy. It's too hot.
This is a long way from home. Just take my word for it. He finally gets to these flatlands. Okay, and the dogs race to get down in these little mud puddles here where the water has gathered. This is Andhra Pradesh, and I know in other parts of Andhra Pradesh, they'll hire people to dig holes. They basically have shovels and steel poles, and it'll fill with water, and then the cattle can come and drink there. And I'm imagining this is somewhat of what that is. But the dogs just stay in the water. A lot of them did not want them sweating, panting.
Yeah, trying to cool off.
This is somewhere midday. His son has disappeared, and yeah, you can see how hot they are. You see the salt on him.
Hmm.
This was exhausting. It's exhausting for a cameraman too. I'm telling you, because I had to run ahead of them. I had to run on all sides of them. I had to get way ahead sometimes, or climb a mountain. And there's even one scene where you can hear me out of breath because I have worked so hard to get in front of them. That bird he caught, and I do not know the species of this bird, but was all he could get, and you could just kind of feel the disappointment. Yeah, we got all 3 dogs back here.
They got a squirrel and a bird.
Yeah. And I don't know where the squirrel went during this whole time. He was suddenly holding it on the way home. I'm not sure where he put it. There was no bag.
Huh.
But he's got the bird, he's got the squirrel. So they're still looking on the way back. And there was just that kind of disappointment here where, you know, I could tell they really wanted to catch more.
Yeah. They might have used more calories hunting it than they can get from the...
Yeah, they did a big day. And our water was hot here. It was already hot. There was no cool water. The dogs would run ahead, they'd hide by rocks like that, and then they'd reluctantly go with us. There was a sheep gatherer out there. That was a brief, small little, that was the 3rd time he rested, was there. He left one of his knives here. Picking that up. And then all the way back past the small cemetery, which is right near his home. You think about a guy like this is going to live his whole life like this, yeah, and be buried in an area like that. It's sobering when I was putting this together, just seeing if you put yourself in his shoes. And some parts of the day were a little bit sad. You know, you're a hunter-gatherer. You don't know if you're going to catch anything. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard life. I want people to see how hard it is. I think the well that they got their water from are the pipes that I don't know if it's actually on their land. But you know what? See there? He's got a bird and he's got a squirrel. And he's getting his tinder together to start a fire. And he's going to cook those 2. He didn't bring much meat back for his family today.
Sad.
Yeah. I've seen them do this also in Peru, where they just melt the fur off and everything, and that's what he's doing here. He did pluck the bird, but with the squirrel, he's just burning it. He's just singeing it, melting all that. And then he's cooking them. And all those little chickens are coming up. Those little carnivorous chickens. They were bothering him the entire time. He's always yelling, "Stop," which I assume is like go or stop, you know,
right,
to these chickens. Stop. There you go. See, he just threw a piece of meat to his wife. See, those women are over there just completely hot. So imagine if they had to go out in the field.
Just trying to stay cool.
His daughter-in-law brought over some rice, and in the morning he didn't have that, but here at lunch, I was glad to see that he got some actual rice with that meat. He gave me a piece as well. I ate some of the bird.
How was it?
It was meat, and he cooked it okay. I trusted him. It's all right. I saw him cook it. I don't remember much taste to it, but it was okay. It was good. It's a little tiny bit of protein. He's laid his tools down, and he is going to rest. The dogs are just conked out. There's actually several crows that kept coming in and scavenging all over the grounds. The dogs would sometimes scare the crows off, but this guy is his friend or his neighbor, probably both. He just came in and would talk to him several times during the day.
You know, it's the interesting thing about crows. You know, different parts of the world have different species of bird, but you find crows everywhere.
Yeah, these are like there's a large black crow with white on it.
Mm.
This was beautiful here, just his rest time, just the hard work that he had, and just he was asking me to rest, and I still had to get some filming shots. So during that time, I had a soaked towel that I put over my head and just tried to cool myself down because I was so overheated. I love these shots with his granddaughter here. She's got this little radio, and
Mm.
he's using it for the first time. You can tell he's learning how to use it. See that mirror there? It's a motorcycle mirror, and he used it to, like, look at his teeth, everything. But the earphones with his granddaughters, it's fun, you know. It might not be a big deal here, but over there, it's a big deal to them. They're listening to radio songs. She's trying to show him how she thinks it should be run. There's his friend back again. Wish I could tell you what they were talking about.
I can relate to the radio. I was always really interested in radios and things.
This is betel nut. All through Asia, there's all kinds of people. It gives them energy. There's some addiction to it. You can look it up, but they use the leaf, and they use the nut, and they use lime. This lizard,
Lime as in the caustic mineral, not like a lemon, right?
yeah, this girl really was going after that lizard, throwing rocks that she did not want it on her property. If you think about stuff on your property, like, what would you say? Oh, get rid of that mouse or whatever. Here, it's a big lizard on a tree. This pole is like way bigger than her. It was hurting her arms, but he was trying to get several different fruits, and then here, papaya. Papaya, not completely. Yeah. He was having trouble.
Not quite ready to come down yet.
Starting to turn orange. And here's some other snacks that are going on after his meal. But that's what his house looks like. You get a little bit of view of it. He was hardly ever in his house. That little bucket right there, that represents him. That's him going to the bathroom. So I didn't follow him way out there, but he goes way out. And I think that part of the village and everything, he's just going out alone and digging a hole. So
Doing his business.
yep.
So they don't have an outhouse.
There is no outhouse there. They've got a shower. Kids playing. Those kids find all kinds of things to play with. Oh, there they've got an actual bear, but that woman that was washing dishes right over there, that's his son, wife. This girl did a lot of chores, as you see through the day, and there's a bond between her and Kataya. I can tell. This is his second hunt here, but you can tell even when he comes back, that girl right there, she loves him. She spent a lot of time with him. I know there's a connection there.
Grandpa's girl.
Yeah. That dog. He went out with, I think, 2 dogs this time. But I did not even know there was going to be a second hunt. And this is as the sun started to go down. This time he searched for birds. And the dog, that one's got a thorn already. They were both struggling, and that dog cannot pull the thorn out. He was way ahead, and it would try to catch up with him.
Mm.
It was a bad day for thorns.
I hate thorns.
Yeah. You see that dog limping.
Poor thing.
But this guy never gives up. I mean, I followed him all over out there, and I had to stay back a lot of times during this period. He got his betel nut, giving him a little bit more energy, keeping him going. And he doesn't even have water with him this time, it looks like. Maybe the dog just gave up. And his trap is empty, which was another sad thing. You can tell that's really disappointing here.
Yeah.
The dogs are.
Did they bait the trap or you didn't see?
I believe that they did, but I did not see what kind of bait.
Mm.
I love this part right here. It's just this and then going into home. I feel like it really showed just the whole day, the futileness of it, yet trying so hard to get meat for his family. And I love this area. He's done his best. And here he is doing his best for his family and out of love for his family. And then you see him going home.
Sometimes even when you do your best, you still come up short. Universal constant.
There's always these red petals here from the flowering tree, and that girl is calling out to him. She's always happy when he comes home. Even though he's come home with like nothing. You know, he's got his grandkids here and he loves them, they love him. An exhausting day. You know, he was sick during that day as well.
Yeah.
There was a certain portion of that day you don't see where I could tell he was sick. He was overheated. The nightly chores and resting again, but his son is there, his son's wife is there, everybody's home now. But you can tell he's just had it. He's worked.
Yeah.
Chickens
Get
are
up
starting.
tomorrow and do it again.
Yeah. He took a shower there, and that's what his inside of his shower looks like. Just gets dropping those pour water on yourself. But the sun's pretty much down by this time, and the family's gathering, and there's a little bit of a meal. But once again, you'll see it's very sparse. You can see that gecko in that last shot catching flies.
Yeah, I was thinking I could always eat the lizard.
Yeah.
So much meat though.
Because it's just that bread and water there, like a slop that he's having to take. So, and there is his bed. After a hard day's work, I think this will mean a lot to his family seeing this one day too.
I bet
His
it,
grandchildren getting to see this for years, you know, and remember him.
yeah,
I think that's really
absolutely.
special. It's going to be neat.
I think it
But
will.
it was the hardest day for me. I bled a lot, sweat a lot, and was completely overheated. And my water got hot too. There was some fresh water that was brought to me finally, and that helped me get through the afternoon. But I didn't get the chance to I can't take a nap or anything. So I'm just trying to cool down the best that you can
Yeah.
and keep filming little shots here and there. Boy, that was hard. Very hard. And then I had to go and do another whole day with the guy in India the next day. So that night I was just completely drained, and then had to get up real early the next morning before sunup. So it was quite an adventure with this guy. I feel for him. I wish that he could catch more.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's gotta be rough. And I wonder, what the situation with the hunting is there. Like, is it better now than it was the past, or was it better in the past than it is now? And
I think it had to have been better in the past. I know there was one man that crossed those fields before we ever got to the mountain, and he was running water buffalo, and he was talking to him back and forth and showing him the squirrel that he had caught and telling him he was heading up over the mountain and everything. And so
Mm.
I don't know whose land all of that is. Some of them are probably free to graze, but I got the feeling that it kind of belonged to this other guy. And he was just out there hunting his land. There's a lot of brush piles. And it looked to me like that's where squirrels and small rodents are hiding.
Hmm.
They just keep checking them.
Yeah, checking over and over again.
Mm,
Well, I hope he has a better day today.
yeah.
Catches a lot.
Yeah, surely we hope for that.
Well, that's good. Well,
Poor guy.
that was episode what? Three,
That was the
four,
third one that's
third.
been put out so far.
Yeah.
The third
So
country.
we're all eagerly awaiting the next episode. So it'll
Yes.
be fun to see what happens next. But yeah, I know. I'm thinking maybe some of you enjoyed that video because it's gotten a lot of views.
Mm-hmm.
Please comment on it. Please make sure you subscribe if you like what you see, if you want to see more, and go ahead and give us that thumbs up if you don't mind.
And if you have any questions about that day or the process of his hunting, I can get a hold of people that are there still and ask some questions if there's something I don't know. So if I know it, I can answer. Go ahead and comment. Go ahead and ask questions. And if I don't know, I'll try to find out for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.